Welcome to the Modern Conservative Podcast, and I am your host, Jonathan Harvey. I can be found on the modernconservativepodcast.com. I can be found on Podbean and 45 other platforms as far as our digital audio. It is Friday. Man, I'm glad to be in Friday. It's been a long week, been busy. You know, today I spent the day with Lady MAGA and a few journalists from Japan down at the gun range shooting guns. You know, I shoot all kinds of weapons. I'm really into legal killing. And so today I took out my air guns, and let me tell you, you never get enough of shooting, no matter what it is. I love to shoot guns and all kinds of guns. So I will tell you this, if you don't own a gun nowadays, you probably should get one. The world is going flipping crazy. So in so many ways, it's so hard to tell. I want to tell everybody to hey, when you get a chance, check out the website. Just give it a look. And then I promise you, you'll find some good stuff up there for conservatives. And there's a 10% off coupon on the site as well. So visit the site, take a look at it, and help support us and what we're trying to do here at TMCP Media, and stay in the fight. You know, unfortunately, it takes money to stay in this fight. It is so sad, but that is the absolute truth, because those of you in Utah, you know, we had some great candidates running, some American First candidates, but a lot of them couldn't get past the convention because they couldn't get the publicity. And that publicity is expensive, really expensive. So this is when we need people to help out candidates. I know a dollar is hard to come by nowadays, but so are good politicians. And sometimes it's just not the other side that pay good money for politicians. We need to do the same ourselves. Now, we don't look at it as an payment. We look at it as an investment in our future and our kids' future. So think about it in the next few months, because we will be having another election come up here in Utah. GOP and some other local municipalities will also be having elections. Hey, you may even see me there. I may decide to run. I get so pissed off with the crap that's going on. You know, I just heard some news just a minute ago before coming on air. The inland port. There's some things we will talk about later in the future once I learn more about it, because I really don't like to talk about a lot of things I don't know a lot about. But we will have that conversation. We absolutely will. Last night, I went to an event for Mike Lee, and the guest speaker was Tulsi Gabbard. Fantastic woman, amazing woman. Now, she is a former Democrat, and she has not released all her liberal thinking. I know that. But hey, it's a start. And hopefully she'll bring more people like her that are open-minded and have common sense. See, the thing about politics today is common sense. It's not so common anymore. So hopefully people would migrate over to our neck of the woods and see what conservatism is really about. Because, like I said, common sense is something that doesn't exist anymore, and especially in Utah. Utah is something different. You know, someone had told me a long time ago that Utah was the most conservative state in the country, and it was nice hearing that. And this is when I wasn't even a conservative. Actually, I was living in Idaho, and people kept telling me Idaho actually belongs to Utah. And back in those days, that was somewhat true. Now, Idaho, to me, has gone a lot bluer, a lot faster, especially Boise, a lot more liberal. But even in Boise, they're trying to keep the liberals out of the state. But my disappointment is Idaho. Utah. It is so disappointing to me to see how Utah has actually gone so purple. Think about something. It's been 40 plus years since Salt Lake City has had a Republican mayor. And what's ironic is that is where the temple and corporate America is for the Mormons. That is headquarters one now. But yet the city is so damn blue. And I've been trying to figure out why is that. And I've asked many questions. Why is Salt Lake City so blue? Why is it we can't get a Republican mayor into office in that city, and when it's supposed to be so conservative? I just don't get it. I really don't get it. And so imagine if the rest of the state turned that way. Could it happen? It could happen. People don't wake up. It really can happen. Because when you take everything for granted, you wouldn't know what hit you in the face until it's over with. Because you don't do any preventive thinking. You know, I'll say a lot of things that piss people off, and I really don't care. Because usually 9 times out of 10, the people that I just pissed off are the ones who know it's the absolute truth. They're just waking up and saying, hey, I really am a dumbass. And some people don't want to acknowledge that fact. Look, there's time in my life I've been a dumbass. There's days I've been a dumbass. I don't think I go a week without being a dumbass. But one thing I don't do when it comes to politics, I try not to fall asleep at the steering wheel when it comes to politics. Because that's the one thing that can affect my life and yours quicker than anything else. One bad elections series, one bad election series can make things really bad. Oh, whoa, 2020. That's what happened. How you like them now? They got the power, they got the control. When they have the control, you become the sheep or the puppet. Or you become resistant, and then you become a right winger or domestic terrorist. Just because you believe in the Constitution, freedom, liberty, justice, the American way. So many ways that so many reasons why people come to this country. For example, my buddy Carlos Moreno, he became a naturalized citizen today. And that's a congratulations, Carlos. You know we love you. We fight this fight together, and we'll continue to fight this fight together. But now, you have always been an American, but now it is official. Absolutely official. Welcome to the club, brother. We will do great things together. But back to what I was talking about, you know, we as Americans, we take things for granted. I mentioned the other night on the show the conversation of nuclear war. It's a real talk. If people are not paying attention, they are talking about we are that close to a nuclear war. But people don't listen. You know, so many people say, hey, I don't do politics. You know, when they drop that bomb on your ass, they're not going to take a survey and ask you if you do politics or not. That's for damn sure. Yes, is it scary? It is for those of us who know. Because another thing is there's no shelter. There is no shelter for you. This is why you have to let your common sense become your shelter. Your knowledge becomes your shelter. I mean, if you have 160 IQ and you're a genius, it's still not going to protect you from a nuclear bomb. But hopefully that IQ will make you realize things and put things in perspective. Say, you know what? Maybe I should just try to fight it without laying over and die. Maybe you would dig a hole under your house or something. Maybe, you know, you would go out and have property in the West Desert, far away from the city, because they're not going to bomb the open desert. They're going to bomb the city. So there's things that you at least should be thinking about. Food preparation, prepping. I know it sounds corny. It sounds so bad. It sounds like a bunch of nut jobs. But in Utah, that's what we do. We do. Because I promise you, when shit hits the fan, you will become knocking on your neighbor's door if you're not prepared. And it's just not even a nuclear bomb. Hard times, bad weather, stuck in your house, can't get out because of the bad snowstorm. Because you know what? Hell, who knows what's going to happen if you truly believe in global warming? That day can come. The sky could fall out of the sky. You know, if you believe in global warming, you can believe the mountains are suddenly going to move in your backyard and crush your house. I don't know, or an earthquake. We just had an earthquake a little less than 2 years ago. So anything is possible. And I don't want to sound like, a prepper. And no, I'm not trying to sell you meal preps or, any of that kind of, those kind of supplies. I'm trying to give you common sense to trigger you to think about, what's going on. Because I was listening to Tulsi Gabbard last night. She was telling us about in Hawaii, there was a siren that went off and it said, "This is not a drill. This is not a drill." And people started to panic. You know why people panic? Because they didn't know what to do. They didn't prepare for it. And she said she had noticed young kids running out in the street or trying to run somewhere to hide. And this was a nuclear threat siren, public PSA. And as she said, she was watching the youngsters run as if they can hide somewhere. In this particular case, it was a nuclear PSA. And it said, "This is not a drill. This is not a drill." So that even intensified things a lot more. But she said she watched these young kids running and they were just running in circles because they didn't know where to go when there's a nuclear attack. And they were under the perception that this was real. So I started thinking myself, I said, wait a minute now. I have guns. I have food. I have land. But then I said to myself, I've got land that's 2 hours away. That does me no good either. It really does me no good. And so then I come to the conclusion, if it's a nuclear bomb, kiss your ass goodbye. Because you can't outrun it. Because even if you look at what happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it was really bad. I remember seeing pictures when I was a kid of in school where these pictures, they had people that were walking along the sidewalk. And when the bomb exploded, it was the fat boy. When it exploded, it cast people's shadows on the wall. I mean, it literally burnt their shadow into the wall. So if it burnt their shadow into the wall, imagine what happened to the people. Imagine what happened to the people. Look, we live in ugly times, and anything can happen right now. And who would have thought Russia and Ukraine would be popping off so quickly at that? I mean, it wasn't like it was 4 or 5 months, telling the story of it going to happen. It just happened pretty much within a week or so. Now, I'm sure over there they had their ideas what they were going to do, but we did not. That's how quick these things can happen. Donald Trump said when he was president, he says, one thing that the United States does really, really bad, we tell you when we're going to attack you. And I remember as a kid, well, I wouldn't say a kid, but a youngster, I usually thought that was rather stupid. Why would you do that? I mean, when I was a kid and you go out to the schoolyard and you're about to have a fight and you pissed off at somebody, you don't tell, "Hey, Bobby, I'm on my way to hit you in your jaw." No, you do it. You meet them up because you don't want them to get ready as well. You don't want them to stack their deck. So you always have the element of surprise. But I just want, it just saddens me, or I shouldn't say saddens me, because, it's expected nowadays because we've gotten to be so comfortable at being Americans, we don't know what it's like to be fighters anymore or survivors. When's the last time we had to survive? A flat tire? No food in the refrigerator? That's the equivalent to us of surviving. We haven't had to do anything to protect our country, our homeland, or our families. We haven't been put in that position as of yet. But I promise you, those days are coming. The United States is not as big as bad as we used to be because we have politicians that are straight wusses. Straight wusses. They're a bunch of penny waste. And the only way we're going to change it coming this November. We have to get people out to vote, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to get people out to vote. Because I'd be damned I want to go through another 2 years like the last 2 years we went through. And if we do, it's only because of us. Okay, maybe they cheat a little bit. But as long as we do our due diligence and put forth the effort to do what we're supposed to do, that justifies us knocking them in the mouth when they cheat on us. And we end up with another 2 years of Nancy Pelosi. Hell, I wish I could get rid of Chuck Schumer and Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell and those alike. But that's the only way we can do it. We can't wish them out. We can't pray them out because the devil doesn't recognize prayers. We literally have to vote them out. And I really think it's the time for us in Utah to stand up, speak out, and just, we don't have to fight with guns. You can fight at the ballot box. When you go to vote for a candidate, make sure it's not a Democrat disguised as a Republican. There's a lot of that going on. His name is Evan McMullen. Hell, he's not even a Democrat. He's worse. He's a chameleon. He's fake. He's a fraud, and he's a liar. So, when you get out to vote this time, get out there and know who you're voting for. Let's stop just voting down ballot. Always stay in the Republican Party. At least we'll hold our seat. But, just don't vote down ballot because there's some really bad Democrats and there's some really bad Republicans. I prefer the seats stay on the Republican side, though there may be a bastard in disguise. A few weeks left. I think it's 10 days or so left. It's going to be interesting. I was talking to some people that in the polling industry, and they think we're going to do really well. But then again, what's a suppression poll? A suppression poll is a poll that says, hey, we're doing really well. So then you stay home because you say, well, we're doing really well, so you don't need our vote. No, this is how we screw ourselves. I don't care if we're up by 20 points. Somebody tells you up by 20 points, go out there and increase it to 25. That is the goal. A really big win because tight races will expose us. For example, let's say this year we have really tight races. We win, but the races are really tight. Well, you're going to have another race coming up in 2 years. And as long as these races stay tight, the other sides think they have a chance to beat us, to take over the state. We need to win with large margins, and that will give the rest of the world and the rest of the dumbasses out there, the lobbyists will tell them, hey, look, we're not going to mess with Utah because every time we have election, them Republicans win by 30, 40 points. Them people in Utah, they ain't messing around with you. You're not going to just walk up in Utah and fake an election and win. See, and this is what the perception we need to give the rest of the country. Utah is a state you do not want to mess around with when it comes to elections because they come out in droves. They come out and vote, and they support their candidates. And another thing that people need to say, I don't want to hear, them damn people in Utah are so damn cheap. See, the Democrats are really good at raising money because they support their own. They really do support their own. And we in Utah think like I said before, we think we have it made here. We think everybody else is going to do the work. Well, if you assume I'm going to do the work and then I do nothing, well, there's two dumbasses that's doing absolutely nothing. No, you should assume I'm going to do my job, and I should assume you're going to do your job because you love your state. and your freedoms, and no one's going to take them away from us. I shouldn't even have to guess whether Utahns are going to take care of their own. Because I've heard so many times, it's the Utah way. Well, what the hell is the Utah way anymore? What's the Utah way? Because, hell, I don't know anymore. I could tell you what it was 30 years ago when I came to the state. I could have told you then. But today, I can't tell you what the Utah way is. Because I think it's slowly dwindling. I remember the Utah way would be, if you did anything to piss the church off, the church would let you know. They're not for it. That doesn't happen anymore. It doesn't happen anymore. And I'm not LDS, and I'm not knocking the LDS faith. Believe me, the church does some really good things, but I think they do a bad job of representing the conservative way of Utah. This has nothing to do with the religion. It is the performance of the church to the public. Whether you're Mormon, Muslim, Catholic, Protestant, Baptist, or whatever. It is the main Kool-Aid that we drink as far as religion in this state. And it is the dominant religion in this state. We need to get the church back to being dominant. Stop playing in this bullshit racial crap, identity crap. Stop playing to the gender crap. Everybody on this planet and everybody in this state know damn well there's only two genders. Two. If you didn't see it that way, maybe you'll see it this way. And that's not 11 either. That's two. We are playing some of the dumbest games with these people that I've ever seen. It's like I've said to the people in the Senate. Why are we having this conversation? Why do we choose to have these conversations when these conversations should be never had? We should never have these conversations. We only know there's two genders. And what they're doing nowadays with this crap that's bothering me, you're diminishing the value of women and mothers. You know, when a man thinks he can do the same thing a woman can do, women should be scratching their eyeballs out every time a transgender say something resembling anything like to what I just said. It diminished the value of a woman. I mean, can you have a baby transgender? And look, let me clear something up. I don't care if you're transgender. It's how you play in the game I don't care about. And I'm like a lot of people. We don't give a damn if you're transgender. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're black, white, yellow, brown. What we want you to do is stop trying to push your lifestyle on us. And you're saying, oh, we're not pushing your lifestyle on our lifestyles. Well, if you're trying to get us to believe there's more than two genders, you're trying to push it on us. You want us to believe what you think you believe, you think you know. It's not going to happen. Yes, I will tell you every single time it's not going to happen. At least in my domain, it is not going to happen. I will not play this game with you. Will not play this game. Never have played this game. You want to play with my daughter, transgender boy, in sports? I'm not for it. I can't say it'll never happen because there's a bunch of stupid ass people that have more power than I will, could grant you that here in the state of Utah. But I promise you, we will fight you. We will fight you. And we're not fighting you because you're transgender. Please do not misunderstand this. We do not care if you're transgender. We don't care you're gay. We don't care about any of that stuff. Most of us just don't care. It's when you try to put it and impose it on parents and children. This is when we're going to get in your life because you're trying to get in ours. God has a strange way of giving insane men kids. Men who love their children. And speaking of men, I'm talking to you. This is what you need to do right now to protect your family. Forget your side-by-sides. Forget your fishing trips. Forget your hunting trip because I forgot mine. Forget the big truck. You need to refocus You men need to refocus what's important to you. What's important to you, because you need to remember, your children are your legacy. Your children are your legacy. It's not even your job. It's not even your damn job. Your children and your wife and your household is your main responsibility. When times are good, you go to work. You go build that. You go build your legacy. You go do what men do. But when they're attacking your family and what represents family in this country, then you be an alpha. You be the biggest alpha that your wife has ever known. You rise to the occasion and you protect your family. And do not be ashamed to be that alpha, because I can tell you what, your wife will appreciate you and feel that much more secure when she knows her man knows his priority. Now, I'm going to piss a lot of men off, and I know that. It's because you know it's the truth, and I stated that earlier. It's no different from the Democrats when we call them a bunch of names and idiots or libertards. It's no different from us as well. Men, I'm sick or tired of going to events, and it's mostly mama bears. See, mama bears are oftentimes out there fighting for the rights and the protection of their children. But men should be fighting for the rights of everything, all of us, including their children, my children, because I do the same thing for yours. Men, be freaking men. Let your balls hang and quit worrying about what people are going to think about you. But at the end of the day, you want your mama, your wife, to call you my mandingo. That's what you want her to say, my mandingo. You want her to say, man, I can't wait to get off at 5 o'clock because I want to go see my king. That's where your mind needs to be, men. That's including voting. That's including voting the way we believe as conservatives. Not all conservatives believe the same way. But at the end of the day, we all vote at the same ballot box for the same principles. Well, most of us. Today, I really didn't have a topic to talk about. And, you know, when I come on my show, I don't always have a topic to talk about. I don't like having a guest here all the time because I don't get to talk to the people and do what got me here. And that is straight talk. I'm a straight talker. And I piss people off. I know that. Like I had stated earlier, and I say it when I'm speaking, I don't care. Because I promise you, most of you know what I'm saying is the truth. I've been having this male struggle for a long time now. I shake more women hand than I do men. Now, I'm just not saying, you know, God, I'm desperate for men handshakes from a male. But what I am saying is this. Men, do what men are supposed to do. Do not get complacent with being a 9-to-5er, and that's it. That is not life. That is not living. That is not being an alpha male. That is not protecting your family. You may put food on the table, but that's so much more to being a male. There's so much more to being a man. There's so much more to being an alpha. When you're an alpha, you don't have to think about it. When you're an alpha, you don't have to make yourself do it. It's natural. It is natural. You know, I have 2 daughters. I have a 10-year-old. There is nothing more important to me than my kid. That little girl, with everything she's been through, deserves the right to be protected. She's been through more than You know, every time I look at the scars on her stomach, each one makes her that much more more precious to me. Because that's a scar that she survived. And I've said this many times. I haven't always been the guy I am today. I will be honest with you. Have not always been that guy. But I can tell you this. I thank God for that little girl and everything she's done. And she's not perfect. She's got one hell of a temper. She can be a pain in the ass. She's a pain in the ass to get up to go to school in the morning. But I can tell you what, when she gets in my truck in the morning and we go to school and we're talking and singing together, I'm ready for the next day because I know I'm going to have to go through it again when it comes to waking her up. But when we get in the truck and after she has breakfast, that's when I really appreciate being a dad. Because I know damn well my job is to protect her. And when I'm standing at school and I'm watching these kids run in, and there's other parents standing there beside me watching their child go all the way in the building, and this is probably a 65, 70-yard walk. And we stand there and we watch our kids because you don't know. One day that can be taken away from you. If something happens to me, I want my little girl to be able to say, I remember my dad standing at school every day watching me go in the building. And she stood at the door and said, see you, Daddy. That's the stuff that makes me an alpha. That's the stuff that make me want to buy guns. That's the stuff that says to me, it doesn't get any better than this. Because even if you're broke, you can always make that memory. It doesn't take any money. It just takes the effort. And the ability within you to say, you know what? I'm a man. I'm an alpha. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. Nothing else matters. And I have the faith of God at my back. Look, being a man is not always easy. Being manly is not always easy. Some people may say you're a narcissist, and there are those. That's for damn sure. It's in your ego. When you're out trying to be a man and you're an alpha male, you don't think about that stuff. You just do it. You just do it. There's no, you wake up the next morning and say, oh, I'm going to be an alpha. No, it just needs to be a way of life. And I've said many times before, I haven't always been this man that I am today. I would have never thought I would turn out who I am today. And I'm not even perfect. Hell, I'm not even close to being perfect. I don't want to be perfect. I just want to believe in my God, enjoy my life because it's so short. And if you're my age, guys, you got to remember something. You're more closer to death now than you are to your birth. You know how you came in, you still don't know how you're going to go out. You still don't know how you're going to go out. But today, you can start heading into the right direction. I've been pondering this conversation, even on my audio. I'm still on audio. I'm on Podbean is my hosting site. It's 45 platforms, Facebook. Sorry. It's iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, a bunch of other platforms. I've been thinking about this conversation for many, many months. And I said to myself, one day I'm going to have a conversation just talking to the males out there. I'm hoping there's enough out there that's not working that, will say, hey, look, the man is right. The man is right. People, your ego isn't in your truck, men. Your ego isn't in your house. Your ego should be how well you raise your children and how well you protect your children. And if you're in your kid's life, I have sole custody of mine. So I'm with mine every single day. That's where your pride should be. It shouldn't be material things. And the minute you think material things is where your pride is, you should recheck yourself. It should be your family. And it's not always going to be easy. And like I stated earlier, my 10-year-old, she's a beast. But you know what? She's also a conservative. She's also a conservative. And that's where you start. You teach them young, don't let that slip away. Don't let that slip away. Because between the schools and the government and Fauci, that's where you lose them young. That's where you lose them young. You know, my producer is sitting here right in front of me. Mike, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, totally agree. And I think it's time for men to stand up. You know, being a Mormon myself, a lot of times I just stood by because I was comfortable with our lifestyle. But more and more, I'm realizing I can't afford to do that anymore.
And it's true.
Gotta fight.
You know,
I hated politics my whole life.
Yeah.
Because I was so disgusted by politics. Not anymore. I want to get involved. I want to do the right thing.
And that's why that man works for me. He's going to get more involved. He'll meet more people and people that he never thought he would have met. My goal is to get men and conservative activated in our state. Support what we do with your time and efforts, volunteering, and donations to certain platforms. For me personally, I don't believe in donations to my organization. I believe in support the website. Support the website. And men, support the website. For 1 month, stay off a gun site. Don't buy ammunition. Now, coming from me, that's going to sound kind of foreign. But spend more time with your children. Spend more money on, with your kids. Because at the end of the day, you don't know when that day is coming. You don't know when your day is coming. My brother died at the age of 52. Going to the bathroom. Fell on the floor. Went to the doctor. Autopsies came back and said that all his arteries were clogged. Not eating healthy. 53 actually, 53. Young, 2020. So you don't know when your day is coming. My dad died at the age of 50 of cancer. I'm the oldest. I'm still living, and so is my mom. I'm blessed that I'm still here, but even I don't know when the good Lord is going to call me. So if you want your legacy to be positive, don't let it be your side-by-side, not even your guns, or your ATVs, or your house, your ego. Let it be let your legacy be what you did for yourself, your family, and your community, and your state, and then your country, and you did all under the belief in God. Because once you have God, and you truly believe there is a God, and you truly believe in living your life according to God, and I tell you what, I am no saint. I am telling you this. And I'm not perfect. But I know who God is. There's an old saying, the devil don't want you when you're doing bad. So when you're out there doing really good, he's tugging at you because it's you he wants. It's you he wants. If you want to get to the kingdom, my mom always told us, be godlike. Don't try to be God, be godlike in the way you carry yourself and you raise your family. Look, my dad was an alcoholic, and I don't tell a lot of people this, but I got a few minutes left. My dad was a flaming alcoholic. Drunk I grew up in the country. We had moonshine, liquor stills. So we had a plenty supply of white lightning is what they call it, or moonshine. By 8 o'clock in the morning, my dad was drunk. 8:30, he's at his office. He would work until 4:30 in the afternoon, go to our football practice, and I drove a school bus at the age of 16. So we would drive ourselves to school after our route, park our buses, go to football practice, and I was top level football player in my state at the time. Didn't take much back then. And then, but my dad would be at our practices. Now, he would be drunk too, but he would be at the practices. My dad was the biggest alpha I've ever met in my life. My dad taught us how to be men, how to hunt, not to be picky. Because when you're in a life crisis and you don't have anything, and we're middle class. He says he believed in teaching us how to eat things that wasn't pleasant in appearance. So we ate raccoons, squirrels, possum, snapping turtles. I didn't eat snakes till I got older. But we ate things like that. And it's not because we needed it, because it was teaching us how to be men. If you're struggling, your mind is already trained you to survive. And this is where men need to get back with their sons, even their daughters. I don't have a son. I have daughters. My daughter ate the other day, a few months back, it was a cow tongue. She didn't know what it was. This was months and months and months and months ago, but she didn't know what it was, but she ate it. That's the secret of mine, at least. You don't tell her what it is. But listen, we're about to close the show. Please go to the website, themodernconservativepodcast.com, and take a look at our hats again. These are limited edition hats. They're fitted hats. They're really nice. I'm actually sporting one myself. Take a look. Purchase a hat. All the money from the purchase of that hat goes to conservative movements. When you go on our site, please please share, and let's do what conservatives do. We are capitalists, but now we need to be capitalists for our own cause. Not my cause, not your cause, for the cause of our state. I'm just saying, I'm asking you, support us. I do not want donations because I do want you to get something for your money. If I wanted to get a bunch of donations, I would have been a 501c3 all day, every day. But I try to keep integrity in what we do. So once again, the modernconservativepodcast.com. Look us up. Make a purchase. Any amount helps. Like I said, it's to build our war chest. And please be part of the fight. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and yes, there's still two genders in my show. And that's all you ever hear. Enjoy your weekend. Take care. My name is Jon Harvey, and I'm your host of the Modern Conservative Podcast. Good evening.